Hi there, it's Kevin with the Rogue Market here with a top 10 list of cards that have virtually no spread when comparing TCG market price to Card Kingdom's buy list. Now, before we get into the list, let me tell you exactly why this is important. Usually, this is an indicator that TCG market price is lagging behind, meaning that Card Kingdom is selling these cards at a higher rate than they're buying them, or are currently out of stock and want to restock their inventory and are willing to pay a premium for these particular cards. Again, eventually, it means that market price from TCG Player will catch up, and it also will mean that the prices have the potential of actually spiking. So it's a good way of getting ahead of price spikes when looking at the spread between the buy list and the market price. So this is also a good thing with what we call the Card Kingdom juggle. The opposite is also true. Sometimes you can look at Card Kingdom and they'll be vastly cheaper than the TCG market price, and that just means in that particular market, the cards are moving quicker than its counterparts. So again, TCG Player and Card Kingdom tend to have a little bit different flavors with their markets. The Card Kingdom is geared more towards the casual. I would say their bread and butter is standard and EDH, especially EDH. And TCG market is a lot of times the modern cards hold a higher value. Other buy lists as well usually give a little bit better for modern cards. And if you can play this little arbitrage game between the two markets, you can actually make out with a quick buck. Now, again, a lot of the times this is nothing to write home to mom about. I had some criticism in the last video saying that, yeah, you can make a profit, but it just eats up your time. I haven't found that to really be the case. I think it's quite easy to do this, and there isn't a lot of labor involved. There's just throwing a bunch of cards in a package. That's why I like using Card Kingdom's buy list. I usually buy from TCG Player and sell to Card Kingdom, or specifically buy from Card Kingdom and wait a couple months to do what we call the Card Kingdom juggle when eventually they run out of their own inventory and rebuy cards that have gone up in value. So I've tend to identify some trends from Card Kingdom. It seems like they open up a lot of product with newer sets and it floods their own market, and then they are automation based to where they do a little scan of their inventory per how many is coming in, per how much is going out, and then the prices adjust accordingly. So there's cards like Love Struck Beast right now that are a lot cheaper from Card Kingdom. You can get them for 25 cents, I believe, and they're going for TCG market for like 60 cents. And then again, I know that's tiny, but that's double the value of market price versus the Card Kingdom. And eventually it shows that maybe Card Kingdom's inventory is just lagging behind of what the actual market price is. And again, same thing is true for TCG market price versus Card Kingdom. So it's important to kind of be aware of this and get ahead of the price spikes when one market is selling a card. The other ones you tend to be lagging behind and they'll catch up. So this particular video is focused on that aspect of what cards are currently being either very, very low spread, like Card Kingdom's buy list is just a few cents behind TCG market price, or some of these cards are actually positive with the buy list, meaning you can buy them right now from TCG Player market price and sell them to Card Kingdom at a profit. All right, so I hope that's not too much of an in-depth explanation. I thought I'd get that out of the way before we get into the top 10 cards that I found that have a positive or virtually no spread between the market price and the Card Kingdom buy list. So the first one being Vivian Arcbow Ranger. Currently, it has a market price of around $3.45, $3.50, and Card Kingdom is paying $3.65. So if you actually turn this for store credit, of course, that's where you're going to make this little profit. And then market price should start to catch up from TCG Player. Vivian Arcbow Ranger is currently seeing play in the Mono Green Stompy, Golgari Stompy, and even Gruul Stompy. So I actually play Vivian Arcbow Ranger in a Gruul Counters deck. It's one of the best cards in the deck with Incubation Druid and the Growth Chamber Guardian, as you can put counters on them, and then the -5 is really good to get that particular card like a Ceratops or a Ravager Worm or something that can get you out of a situation you need it to get you out of. So the -3 is also very good on Vivian. It just seems to be on curve with most of the cards from these decks having a 4-drop come down and then pump up your 3 or 2-drop, especially with like the Gilded Goose ramping things out. So this card is seeing more play than its price tag suggests. It's a mythic out of M20, which has got a lot of good things going for it because Core Set 2020 was not opened nearly to its counterparts around that same time period, like either the Ravnica sets or now the Throne of Eldraine. And so, again, a mythic that does see play usually is going to hold a price above the $5 mark. So I'm expecting this card to go up on the market price. The next one is Ugin the Ineffable. So this card does see play occasionally in Modern. Eldrazi Tron will run it every now and again. There will be some Tron decks that will run it with the Ugin having the colorless spells being reduced. Currently, the market price is $4, and the Card Kingdom buy list is right there at $4. So virtually there's no spread between the two. I'm pretty bearish on War of the Spark rares. I just think that this set has been opened up so much, and they did a restock of War of the Spark as well. It really reminds me of Dominaria, and I would say sets like even like Khans of Tarkir and Battle for Zendikar have a hard time having their rares worth anything just because the supply is so high. But currently we do have that non-existent spread with Ugin the Ineffable and the Card Kingdom buy list. Next one is kind of a bulk rare. It's 82 cents on the market price. It's catching up to the mid price, and the Card Kingdom buy list price is paying 90 cents. So it's slightly above on the Card Kingdom buy list, which means the market price is probably going to go up pretty soon. We do see this little tick in the Deafening Clarion. It's mainly due to the Jeskai Fires and the Jeskai Super Friends playing this as high as a 4 of, because it's their go-to sweeper. It's kind of the best sweeper in its slot with 3 damage to each creature, which is relevant right now for getting rid of Oko tokens. It also gets rid of like even pesky little cards like the 0/3. You never know when that actually is going to be a problem for your creatures to attack in and do lethal. The Jeskai Fires deck is more of a control-based deck, and it's also pretty good with the lifelink to giving your Cavaliers or your Realm Giant some lifelink and then be able to stabilize versus those aggro decks. So this card's headed up. No surprise. I thought this card would go up with the rotation because it is just the most powerful sweeper in its slot. So on to the next one, which is Pelt Collector. Pelt Collector is another interesting one with the TCG market price being $1.44 and the Card Kingdom buy list price being $1.30. So this one doesn't have a positive spread, but it's very, very close. The good thing too about this is Card Kingdom is out of stock. So I'm thinking they're going to increase both of these prices to try to refill their inventory. So with Card Kingdom being out of stock, I'm assuming Pelt Collector is going to continue to go up. The mid and market price have been increasing, and I'm thinking these other Channel Fireballs and whatnot are going to increase their price. Pelt Collector is currently being played in many decks in Standard with the Golgari midrange, the Gruul aggro decks, and Mono Green Stompy. I've even seen it in some Simic Stompy versions of this. It's even not even bad with a 1-drop in the Flash decks, as this card can get bigger and bigger. You can get up to a 4/4 in that particular deck. So you're looking for a little more oomph in the Flash deck. It's a great little 1-drop to throw down. On to the next one is the Drawn from Dreams. Drawn from Dreams has a market price of about 75 cents, and Card Kingdom is paying 90 cents for it. This is mainly due to, again, the Jeskai Fires decks that are running the Dawn of Dreams as a way to get the Fires of Invention. It's also a good one just to cast after you've cast your Fires, and then it can go get you set up your next turn for 2 cards you want to cast with it. So it's got perfect synergy with that deck. It's a rare from Core Set 2020, so again, it's got that going for it, and it does have that positive spread at the moment with the Card Kingdom paying 90 cents for the Drawn from Dreams. Wow, that's a mouthful. All right, next is an uncommon. This is Circuitous Route, which has about a TCG market price of about 93 cents. It's really closing in on that mid, and Card Kingdom is paying exactly that for the card. So it's funny, it's paying more for this than the foil. Of course, the foil should adjust here, but it is seeing play in the Bant Lands deck, which is, I would say, the most played deck right now. Absolutely the most played deck. It had the highest Mox showing on MTGO. It also had a pretty good showing at the Star City Games. And I'm assuming this is going to see a lot of play in the next coming weeks because it's just a good overall deck. It's good versus aggro, control, midrange. It can usually play the mid-range deck or war pretty well, same thing with the control war, and can stabilize very well versus aggro. So Circuitous Route is the go-to card to get the Field of Dread online, and even an uncommon out of Guilds of Ravnica is having potential to go up. So this one has that nice little, basically virtually no spread. Next one is a card that actually had a pretty good showing over the weekend in the Star City games in just all the different Celestia decks that we're running about. So this is the March of Multitudes. So current price of TCG Mark is about $250, and the buy list card of Card Kingdom is 270. So again, a nice little positive EV here for it. It's being played in the Celestia Adventures deck. It's a good card to bring in from the sideboard versus the control decks. You know, March of Multitudes has been suffering because of Teferi, because it takes away the instant speed aspect of it, but again, it's a pretty powerful card. The deck worked pre-rotation, and I would say the power level was better pre-rotation. I think Ixalan rotating out. I mean, there were some very powerful cards from Ixalan. I don't know. Maybe the power level of this is a little bit higher, and that's what's suffering for some of these classic cards from last standard. But March of Multitudes very powerful in what it does, and it still has a synergy with March of Multitudes into something that gives it some sort of anthem and swinging for lethal. So might be a casual favorite, and that's why Card Kingdom is paying a little bit more for it. But the spread is there for this card to go up. Next one being the Shandur Acolyte of Flame. Shandur Acolyte of Flame is currently going for about $570 on the market price. This is a card that I expected to go up, and it had some pretty weak showings. It wasn't as dominant as it was in the pre-rotation format that was going on MTG Arena, with almost every one of those tier decks running it. Both the Elementals decks is falling out of favor, and the Cavalcade deck is falling out of favor. However, the Rakdos Sacrifice deck is still going strong, and I think that's where it's found its home in that particular deck. It's also a nice little switcheroo for the Jeskai Super Frenzy to bring it in to create a little bit of aggro from the Shandur, creating those 2/1/1s each turn. It also gives you some more ability to loyalty up your other planeswalkers, as well as cast some other spells like Lava Coils from your graveyard too, or Justice Strikes, things like that, to get more value out of them. So Shandur's still a really powerful card. I like it for Modern too. It's Modern playable, and Card Kingdom has the $570 for the TCG market price, and Card Kingdom is paying about $6 for them. So this is a nice little spread again for the Shandur Acolyte of Flame. Next one is the Midnight Reaper. This card is just going nuts right now because it is seeing play in Golgari Adventures, which was the second most played deck of the week, as well as it's seeing play in Rakdos. So I believe this card is a top 10 card right now, seeing play in Standard, which is saying a lot for it being not in the number 1 deck of Bant Lands. However, a lot of the black decks that are seeing play right now, whether it be Mono Black Aristocrats or the Rakdos Sacrifice deck or just Golgari Adventure, they're all running Midnight Reaper. So you can see that by all the lists that are running this. I'm thinking Orzhov is actually something that is viable. I'm sure some Knights deck is going to make this viable. This just has everything going for the Midnight Reaper. The market price is about $2, and Card Kingdom is paying $1.70. So again, it's not that far off the spread. I included this one in this one because I think it's going to go up just for how many decks this can see play in, and it's got that relevant tribe of Knight. I don't think we should underestimate that. I think that there might be some Knight decks that are going to be viable. We actually did see some of them 5-0 in this league that were Knight tribals in both Orzhov and in Rakdos. So yeah, Midnight Reaper, I think, it does have the potential of really having a double up here, and I think the spread shows it. Last but not least is Gutterbones, another card that sees play in the aforementioned decks. Gutterbones currently has a market price of about $1.50. I mean, it's above the TCG mid price, and Card Kingdom is right on par, paying about $1.40 for the card. So again, this one is just seeing a ton of play in the various decks. There are a lot of mono black aggro decks that are starting to do well. The Golgari Adventure decks, or Golgari Sacrifice decks, is just a good way to continue to get value out of a card. So this card is seeing a lot of play throughout Standard, and it's just a nice little value one drop. It's hard to really beat this for its slot. Not a lot of competition in that slot for a recurring card that you can continue to get back and sack and create pressure. So those are the cards right now that currently have a near to nothing spread. If you found other cards like this, be sure to comment in the comment section below. Again, this is very, very important to get ahead of these particular cards. These are the ones with the most movement, usually when they have no spread, and they're the safest too, because it seems like both markets have a demand for these particular cards. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video of the top 10 cards that have virtually no spread from the TCG market price to the Card Kingdom buy list price, and looking forward to your comments in the comment section below. This has been Kevin with the Rogue Market. Thanks for watching.